powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to another edition of Unconventional Playbook, the UP. Please take the time and hit that like button and that subscribe button and that little bell to give you a notification when all content is posted. UP Nation, thinking about the purple, we're in a good situation. I know we are fresh off of the sting of losing to the Los Angeles Rams in the first round of the playoffs. I know we wish things would have ended a little bit differently, but we are where we are, and we have to deal with what we have to deal with, but we're in a good place. We're in a good place. I look at the roster and all the things that we have to do to improve our football team. And I like the spot that we're in. Looking at some other teams, I mean, we could be far worse. We could be the Jets. We could be the Giants. We could be the Cleveland Browns. Can you imagine the Giants, man, sitting there? Giants fans at home and the Giants brass just sitting there watching Saquon Barkley do his thing yesterday. Oh, that's got to be tough. Can you imagine that if you are a New York Giants fan? But I digress, man. I'm telling you right now, the Minnesota Vikings are in a good spot. They got a bunch of young guns. And so the question surrounding the Minnesota Vikings is that when you look at their core, their young core, specifically Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, J.J. McCarthy, Christian Darrisaw. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on, man. We got the young guns. How do we build around this core? Because I feel like if we do it the right way, what we're seeing the Kansas City Chiefs do, we're not far away. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to win 3 Super Bowls. It would be nice. We'll see if the Kansas City Chiefs can do that, but it would be nice if the Minnesota Vikings had an opportunity to do that. But nonetheless, if we can build around these young studs, man, what type of football team and organization could the Minnesota Vikings be? We've beaten the dead horses on all the podcasts and all the sports analyst shows about what we have to do with the offensive line. That goes without saying. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa is going to get that together. Kwesi's been really good with free agency and bringing guys in, plugging holes. I'm sure KOC is going to have a lot to say about that, of who he wants and who he prioritizes going after. We talked about the defensive line and places that we have to shore up, more specifically interior defensive line and then quarterbacks. We don't know what's going to happen with the hitman, whether or not he's going to retire or not, but he's got to tell us soon so we can put a plan in place. There's so many different options for the Minnesota Vikings in terms of how they can start to build this team. And the best move that this organization ever made, that Kwesi ever made, was just getting rid of that Kirk Cousins contract. Had to go through the void year this year, but now we've got some money to spend, and Kwesi has to do it right. If there's any criticism of Kwesi, man, what I'm worried about, because I think it has to be a combination of free agency, and it has to be a combination of the draft. And Kwesi has been really good with free agency, but he's been absolutely, well, there's a lot to be desired when it comes to Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa and his draft picks. So those two, I mean, we've got to find a way to marry those two. Boy, if we get that right. Boy, if we get that right. And I know the verdict is still out on someone like a J.J. McCarthy, but you're not really sure until you're sure. And I'm sure that J.J. McCarthy is not going to be a bust. I mean, I go back and watch his games at Michigan. I go back and watch his preseason games. Things that I saw in training camp from this young man. I know he's coming off of meniscus surgery. I don't think that's going to have any bearing on the way he performs next year. If they give that thing time to heal, it's not going to affect his performance. I think, here's what I think. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be a stud. I think he's going to be a top-level quarterback in this league. But that's really just reaching out on a limb. There's not enough right now on the resume at the professional level where I can just hang my hat on that. But here's what I can hang my hat on when it comes to J.J. McCarthy is that he's not going to be a bust. You can book that. It's not going to be a bust. I think what you saw from Sam Darnold with J.J. McCarthy is going to be enhanced. See, I think Sam Darnold had trouble with the intermediate game and the short game. And it's why we didn't see a lot of screens from the Minnesota Vikings. The last game of the season against the Rams gave me an insight because I kept banging the table for KOC to get the quick game. And I thought to myself, well, maybe Sam Darnold just can't do it. I mean, we heard it in training camp. And then you saw on some of the swing passes to Aaron Jones, man, he was missing the target. And that's one of the easiest throws that you can make as an NFL quarterback. J.J. McCarthy has that accuracy. So it's about building in the trenches to help protect J.J. McCarthy and building in the trenches defensively to be able to get after the quarterback. And then it becomes a domino effect where if you can get after the quarterback and not let him get comfortable in the pocket, it helps the secondary, it helps the linebackers, it helps everybody. It's a force multiplier. And this is why this should be a really, really exciting time. But accountability has to be on Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa, his scouts, and the coaching staff to be able to target people, rather if it's the draft or if it's free agency. We got to get things right. It's not enough. It's not enough to have over $70 million in salary cap money. You've got to get your choices right. It don't matter whether we stay at 24 or move back in the draft to recoup some of the draft picks that we lost via trade in previous years. You've got to be able to get the draft picks right. If you whiff with all the money that you have in free agency and you whiff with whatever picks you accumulate, it's for naught. So UP Nation, Minnesota Vikings fans, Skull Nation, we've got to trust Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa. We've got to trust KOC and the guys that they bring in. Because I think the nucleus and the foundation of this team hasn't been this good for a long time. And so it's just paramount. It's paramount that the Minnesota Vikings brass, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa, KOC, that they get these picks and these free agents right. Because you've got to be able to, you've got a great foundation, but you got to be able to surround the foundation with great things. A big decision is not only free agents, guys that are outside of your organization that you bring in, but it's about who you bring back. Do you bring back Cam Beasley? I know they want to bring back Cam Beasley, but at what price? Murphy, corner, all pro. At what price? These choices are hard choices. I know what I would do, but my tail's not on the line. What do you do with Harrison Smith, Patrick Jones, Aaron Jones? These are all decisions that are going to affect the Minnesota Vikings next year. If Harry the Hitman retires and you don't want to pay Cam Bynum, who I think is going to be a little bit pricey, I don't think he's going to go for the whole hometown discount type thing. I think Cam Beasley wants to get paid. So now you lose Cam Beasley. You got two of your safeties gone. Of course, you could stick Josh Metellus back there, but if Josh Metellus, if that's his priority spot, is Josh Metellus really Josh Metellus? I mean, he's been a Swiss Army knife since he's been here. You can plug him anywhere. I'm surprised he hasn't played quarterback yet. He's played so many positions. for the Minnesota Vikings. These decisions during the offseason are going to be important, but the great thing is that we got a lot of young guns. We've got a great foundation. And it really, really puts me in a great spot when I see, the 4 teams that played on Sunday. We're not far away. It gives you a blueprint when you watch the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the Eagles. The Washington Commanders are kind of an outlier, but they got their franchise quarterback, their stud, and he's a stud. It kind of gives you a glimpse of where the Minnesota Vikings need to be. And if you look at it with a neutral eye and don't have your purple colored glasses on, you look at it with a neutral eye, you can know and you can feel that we're not far away. But this offseason is crucial. And we gotta get it right, UP Nation. Skull Nation, Vikings Nation. We just gotta get it right. We can't mess this thing up. So I'm trusting in Kwesi. I'm rolling with Kwesi. And I'm rolling with KOC. I know he hasn't done a great job in the draft, but maybe he's learned what he's looking for, and he's going to get this thing right. I got a feeling that this is going to be one of the best off seasons that the Minnesota Vikings have ever had. Put your thoughts in the comments. What do the Minnesota Vikings need to most? What moves would you make? Are you excited that J.J. McCarthy is going to be taking over this thing? Because I know that there are rumors out there about Sam Darnold possibly staying. Sam Darnold's not staying. You can book that. It's going to be J.J. McCarthy. What do we need? UP Nation. Give me some scenarios out there. I know my guy King David he throws me scenarios all the time. I love getting messages from the King. King David, put your thoughts in the comments, man. I love when you contact. Put thoughts in the comments. It's going to be the best Minnesota Vikings offseason ever. I just got that feeling. Hit that like and subscribe button. UP Nation, we will make sure to see you when we see you.